The revelation. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council echoed with whispers as Ambassador Ilara Chen approached the speaking platform. Massive crystal pillars rose 50 meters to the vaulted ceiling, where holographic representations of the thousands of star systems under Council governance shimmered in perpetual motion. Despite the grandeur, Ilara felt little awe. After 6 years representing Earth in this chamber, she had grown weary of the Council's condescension. The representative from Earth may now address the chamber regarding the incident in the Proxima system, announced High Arbiter Dexloran, his 4 eyes blinking asynchronously, a sign of impatience in his species. Ilara straightened her Navy diplomatic uniform. At 42, she carried herself with the quiet dignity that had become necessary when representing a Category 3 civilization like Earth, a designation that placed humans barely above pre-spaceflight species in the Council's rigid hierarchy. Honorable representatives, she began, her amplified voice carrying throughout the chamber. Earth thanks the Council for this opportunity to discuss the recent pirate attacks on our Proxima colonies. 17 civilian ships destroyed, over 2,000 lives lost, and yet the Council's response has been. She paused, letting the silence hang heavily. Inadequate. A ripple of indignation passed through the assembly. Jirok, the massive arthropoid representative of the Valhari Dominion, clicked his mandibles in disapproval. Category 3 civilizations are granted limited protection under Council statutes, Jirok stated, his translator rendering his clicks into the common galactic language. The resources required to secure a remote system like Proxima exceed what your status merits. Perhaps Earth should focus on developing closer to its homeworld until it achieves higher technological benchmarks. It was the same dismissal Earth had received for decades since first contact. The Galactic Classification System, supposedly objective, had locked humanity into subordinate status despite their rapid adaptability. Category 3 meant restricted access to advanced technology, limited trading rights, and minimal protection from the predatory behaviors of higher-tier species. An interesting suggestion, Ilara replied, her tone carefully controlled. However, I'm not here to request protection anymore. The subtle shift in her language caught the attention of Tella Sorn, the elder representative of the Meridian Accord, one of the oldest spacefaring civilizations. Her luminescent skin pulsed with faint blue light as she leaned forward. Then what precisely does Earth request? Tella asked, her melodious voice carrying a note of curiosity that had been absent in the Council's dealings with humans for years. Ilara touched a control on her wristband, and a hologram appeared above the chamber floor. It showed the Proxima system, where a group of vessels with unfamiliar configurations hovered near the human colony. 3 days ago, these ships arrived in the Proxima system. They are not requests, High Council. They are Earth vessels. We call them the Quantum Defense Fleet. The chamber erupted into chaos. According to all officially submitted technological assessments, Earth shouldn't have been capable of building such vessels for at least another century. More importantly, the ships showed no signs of using the jump gate network that controlled galactic travel, the very network the Council used to maintain their power structure. High Arbiter Dexloran slammed his ceremonial staff against the floor, restoring order. Explain yourself, Ambassador. Earth's technological assessment reports show nothing approaching this capability. Yes, Ilara agreed, allowing herself a small smile. That was intentional. For 30 years, humanity had played the role expected of them, the eager newcomers, grateful for any technological scraps thrown their way. Earth's representatives dutifully submitted progress reports that showed steady but unremarkable advancement, while behind the scenes, a different story unfolded. Humanity has developed quantum displacement technology, Ilara announced. Our ships require no jump gates. They can appear anywhere in the galaxy instantaneously. The implications were staggering. The carefully controlled jump gate network had been the Council's primary means of enforcing their hierarchical system. Species deemed insufficiently advanced were granted limited access, ensuring they remained dependent on higher-tier civilizations for trade, protection, and expansion. At 58, Kai had spent his career watching humanity struggle under alien restrictions. He commanded Earth's first interstellar vessels, ships that, by Council standards, were little more than primitive haulers, despite incorporating remarkable human innovations that had been carefully disguised as less impressive technology. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from Ambassador Chen," his communications officer reported. "The Council has been informed." Kai nodded. "How long until our friends arrive?" "Intelligence suggests the Valhari battle group will exit the jump gate in approximately 2 hours. They're bringing a Category 1 dreadnought." The Admiral smiled grimly. The Valhari Dominion had been particularly dismissive of humans, often raiding the edges of Earth territory with impunity. The Council consistently ruled such incursions as navigational errors, despite clear evidence of deliberate aggression. "Prepare all systems. Let's give them a proper welcome." Back in the Council chamber, the initial shock had given way to outrage. Jurok of the Valhari was particularly vocal. "This is an outrageous violation of Council protocols," he thundered, his massive frame trembling with anger. "Earth has deliberately misrepresented its technological status. Such deception merits immediate sanctions, possibly even quarantine." Other representatives joined in, demanding explanations, reassessments, and penalties. Beneath their indignation lay a current of fear. If humans had concealed this level of advancement, what else might they be hiding? Ilara waited for the noise to subside before responding. "The Council's classification system has never been applied fairly to Earth. When humans demonstrated aptitude in certain fields, those fields were suddenly deemed less significant in technological assessment criteria. When we sought to trade our innovations, we were told they were interesting but primitive. So yes, Earth made a strategic decision to develop in silence." Telesorn's luminescence had intensified, indicating deep thought among her species. "Ambassador Chen speaks some truth," she said, silencing many of the angry voices. "I have reviewed Earth's applications for reclassification. 7 times they have petitioned with innovations that, had they come from other species, might have merited consideration. 7 times they were denied." High Arbiter Dex Loren's upper eyes narrowed. "That does not excuse deception on this scale. The hierarchy exists for a reason, to prevent unstable civilizations from acquiring technologies they are not ethically prepared to manage. A hierarchy that conveniently keeps the founding species in positions of power," Ilara countered. "Earth didn't hide its advancements because we feared ethical assessment. We hid them because we knew, regardless of their merit, they would be dismissed." A new hologram appeared, showing real-time footage of the Valhari battle group emerging from the jump gate near Proxima. 8 massive warships, including a dreadnought that dwarfed anything Earth had publicly acknowledged possessing. "It seems the Valhari are eager to demonstrate the Council's response," Ilara noted dryly. Jurok's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of satisfaction. "Standard containment procedure for a civilization exceeding its authorized development parameters. Your colony will be placed under protective oversight until the Council determines appropriate measures." Dr. Layla Zakaria watched the approaching Valhari ships from the observation deck of New Horizon, Proxima's largest colony station. As Earth's lead quantum physicist, she had been instrumental in developing the technology that now protected them. For years, she had published deliberately obscured research, papers that seemed to explore theoretical concepts while actually documenting working principles. "They're still coming," she said to Director Marcus Wong, who stood beside her. "They don't understand what they're facing." Marcus, who oversaw the colony's 5 million inhabitants, nodded grimly. "They never bothered to understand us at all. That's been their mistake from the beginning." The Valhari dreadnought moved into position, its weapon systems activating in clear violation of Council peacekeeping protocols. No warning, no communication, just the arrogant certainty that a Category 3 civilization would have no choice but to submit. "Quantum field stabilized," Lila confirmed, checking the readings on her tablet. "Admiral Sorensen can deploy at will." In the council chamber, the representatives watched the confrontation unfold in real time. Many expected Earth's newly revealed ships to flee or surrender when faced with the overwhelming firepower of the Valhari battle group. Instead, the humans did something incomprehensible. The 5 Earth vessels simply vanished. What trickery is this? Jirok demanded, his mandibles clicking furiously. Where have your ships gone, Ambassador? Before Ilara could answer, gasps echoed through the chamber as the holographic display updated. The Earth vessels had reappeared, not fleeing the Valhari, but surrounding them in a perfect containment formation. Each human ship now positioned at precisely calculated coordinates that nullified the Valhari tactical advantage. Quantum displacement, Ilara explained calmly. Our vessels don't travel through space in the conventional sense. They exist in one location, then exist in another. No jump gates, no detectable transit. The implications struck the Council like a physical blow. The entire defensive doctrine of most galactic powers relied on controlling approach vectors through the jump gate network. Ships that could appear anywhere, without warning and without using the gates, rendered those defenses obsolete. On the Prometheus, Admiral Kai opened a channel to the Valhari command ship. This is Admiral Sorensen of the Earth Defense Force. Your vessels are now surrounded. Power down your weapon systems and prepare for escort from the Proxima system. The Valhari commander's insectoid face appeared on screen, mandibles clicking in what humans had learned to recognize as contemptuous laughter. You bluff well, human. But 5 light cruisers cannot threaten a Valhari battle group, regardless of how you've masked your approach. Kai smiled. These aren't cruisers, Commander. They're quantum displacement platforms, and you should look again at your tactical display. As the Valhari officer turned to consult his instruments, 20 more Earth vessels materialized around the battle group, each larger and more heavily armed than the initial 5. The Earth Defense Force currently has 342 vessels with quantum displacement capability, Kai informed him. I've just deployed 25. Would you like me to continue the demonstration? In the council chamber, the holographic display showed the Valhari ships powering down their weapons. For perhaps the first time in council history, a Category 3 civilization had forced a Category 1 power to stand down. This changes everything, Telesorn said softly, her luminescence pulsing rapidly. The hierarchy as we've known it is obsolete. Ilara nodded. That's precisely what Earth has been trying to tell you for 30 years. The problem was never that we weren't ready for advanced technology. The problem was that you weren't ready for us to have it. As murmurs spread through the chamber, she continued, Earth requests an emergency reclassification hearing. Not to join your hierarchy, but to begin discussions on replacing it with something better. Something fair. High Arbiter Dex Loren's 4 eyes blinked rapidly as he processed the implications. The Council will need time to consider this unprecedented situation. Of course, Ilara agreed. Earth has been patient for decades. We can be patient a little longer. But know this, the era of human compliance with an unjust system is over. We come now as equals, not supplicants. As the council session adjourned in disarray, Dr. Layla Zakaria sent a message from Proxima to Earth's unified government. Revelation complete. Prepare for Phase 2. The galaxy's balance of power had shifted irreversibly, and humanity was just getting started. The Reckoning. 3 days after Earth's revelation shook the Galactic Council, the emergency session convened with unprecedented attendance. Representatives from all 317 member species crowded the Grand Chamber, while billions more watched via quantum entanglement broadcasts. Another technology humans had supposedly been decades away from mastering. Ambassador Ilara Chen entered the chamber flanked by a new delegation. Dr. Layla Zakaria, Earth's quantum physics pioneer, Admiral Kai Sorensen, commander of the Quantum Fleet, and Director Marcus Wong from the Proxima colony. The human delegation wore simple blue uniforms without decoration or rank insignia. a deliberate contrast to the elaborate ceremonial garb of most council representatives. High Arbiter Dex Lauren called the session to order, his 4 eyes surveying the chamber with evident strain. The past 72 hours had seen frantic diplomatic activity as galactic powers scrambled to reassess their positions in light of Earth's revelation. This emergency session will address the security implications of Earth's undisclosed technological development, Dex Lauren announced. Representatives will speak in order of civilization category, as per Council protocols. Ilara stepped forward. With respect, Arbiter, Earth rejects that procedure. We will not validate a classification system used to suppress our advancement. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Never had a Category 3 civilization directly challenged Council procedure. Before Dex Lauren could respond, Tella Sorn of the Meridian Accord intervened. Perhaps, given the extraordinary circumstances, we might temporarily suspend traditional protocols. It seems evident that our classification of Earth requires reconsideration. The Arbiter reluctantly conceded. Very well. The Council recognizes Jirok of the Valhari Dominion, who has requested priority. The massive arthropoid representative moved to the central platform, his armored exoskeleton gleaming under the chamber lights. The humiliation his forces had suffered at Proxima clearly fueled his anger. Esteemed colleagues, Jirok began, mandibles clicking rapidly. The human deception represents the gravest threat to galactic stability in 5 centuries. Their quantum technology violates fundamental principles of controlled technological advancement. I propose immediate containment measures. A holographic display appeared, showing a comprehensive blockade of Earth's solar system, seizure of all human colonies, and forced technological disclosure. The Valhari Dominion, along with 14 allied systems, stands ready to implement these measures. Jirok concluded, his translator rendering his clicks into words that barely contained his species' characteristic aggression. Admiral Kai leaned toward Ilara. He's posturing. Their scans of our ships yielded nothing. They have no understanding of our quantum principles. Nevertheless, she whispered back, this rhetoric will resonate with many who fear change. Ilara addressed the Council. The Valhari proposal demonstrates exactly why Earth concealed its advancements. Immediate threats of military action against a civilization that chose to develop independently. This proves our point about the Council's true nature. She activated her own holographic display, showing the current position of Earth's quantum fleet. Ships now hovered near the homeworlds of every major power, not as a threat, but as a stark demonstration that traditional defensive doctrines had become obsolete overnight. Containment is impossible, she stated flatly. Earth vessels can bypass any blockade, appear anywhere, and disappear before conventional forces can respond. We reveal this not as a threat, but as a reality check for those contemplating aggression. The chamber erupted into chaos. Some representatives demanded immediate military response. Others called for negotiation. The Valhari and their allies pushed for a unified front against the human menace, while other factions saw opportunity in this disruption of the status quo. Ambassador Nexturian of the Solari Confederation, a mid-tier alliance that had often sought greater council representation, rose to speak. Perhaps instead of threats, we should ask what humans want. They've had this capability for some time, yet they've launched no conquests, seized no territories. Why reveal themselves now? It was a perceptive question that cut through the fear-mongering. All eyes turned to the human delegation. Dr. Layla Zakaria stepped forward. Though more comfortable in laboratories than diplomatic chambers, she had insisted on addressing the Council directly. Quantum displacement isn't just a propulsion technology, she explained, her voice steady. It's a fundamentally different way of interacting with space-time. We developed it because the Council denied us access to jump gate technology, forcing us to find alternatives. She activated a display showing the principles behind human quantum theory, carefully edited to provide understanding without revealing critical details. When denied entry through the front door, humans have historically been quite good at finding windows, She continued with a subtle smile. Our quantum breakthrough came from necessity, but it's led us to discover principles that the Council's rigid technological hierarchy never explored, because you assumed certain development paths were the only valid ones. The scholarly representatives leaned forward with evident interest. Even among Category 1 civilizations, truly novel scientific approaches were rare. Earth is willing to share aspects of this technology, Layla offered, causing a renewed stir. Not as tribute or under duress, but as partners in a more equitable galactic community. Telesorn's luminescence pulsed thoughtfully. You propose to bypass the established technology transfer protocols. We propose to replace them. Director Marcus Wong interjected, speaking for the first time. The current system doesn't foster innovation. It stifles it. It doesn't promote security. It ensures stagnation. As the moderate factions began expressing interest, Jirok of the Valhari moved decisively. Activating a secure channel visible only to his closest allies, he transmitted a single command: execute contingency protocol. Across the galaxy, Valhari battle groups quietly moved toward key human settlements, not for immediate attack that would be too obvious, but to position themselves for a coordinated strike once the diplomatic distraction had served its purpose. The humans may have quantum ships, but they couldn't protect every colony simultaneously, or so the Valhari believed. Unknown to Jirok, every quantum message was now monitored by Earth's intelligence network. The moment his command transmitted, Admiral Kai received the alert. He excused himself from the council chamber, moving to a secure anteroom where a quantum communicator awaited. The Valhari have initiated military operations, he informed Earth Defense Command. Implement Watchman Protocol. Throughout human space, civilians living near potential targets received priority evacuation alerts. Quantum displacement platforms activated their defensive matrices, and Earth's newest vessels, the ones they hadn't yet revealed, moved into position. Back in the chamber, the debate continued, with Ilara skillfully directing the conversation toward possible reforms. Several moderate civilizations, long chafing under the rigid hierarchy, saw opportunity in aligning with Earth. Others, invested in the status quo, remained hostile. We cannot simply discard millennia of careful technological management because one species developed an unexpected capability, argued the Glaxoid representative, a gelatinous entity whose species had helped craft the original classification system. Yet we cannot ignore that this careful management failed to predict or prevent what humans have accomplished, countered Ambassador Nexturian. Perhaps our fundamental assumptions require revision. As the political maneuvering intensified, Jirok received confirmation that his forces were in position. The timing seemed perfect. The Council distracted by theoretical debates, while the Valhari prepared to deliver a decisive military response. High Arbiter, Jirok interrupted. While this philosophical discussion continues, we must address practical security concerns. The Valhari Dominion requests emergency security powers to ensure galactic stability during this crisis. It was a standard prelude to military action, invoking the Council's security protocols to legitimize what would essentially be an act of war. Before Dex Lauren could respond, Admiral Kai returned to the chamber. He calmly took his place beside Ilara, then activated his communicator so all could hear. Admiral Sorensen, to all Earth defense platforms. The Valhari battle groups have positioned for attack at coordinates Delta 7. Deploy countermeasures. The chamber's main display automatically switched to show multiple Valhari fleets approaching human settlements, and the sudden appearance of Earth vessels intercepting them at every location simultaneously. What is the meaning of this? Dex Lauren demanded. The meaning is clear, Ilara replied coldly. While preaching about security concerns, the Valhari have launched an unprovoked military action against civilian targets. Jirok's mandibles clicked furiously. This is a defensive repositioning in response to human provocation. The Council's monitoring stations will confirm that not a single human vessel made aggressive movements, Admiral Kai noted. Your ships approached our colonies with weapons charged. The aggression is unambiguous. As the evidence mounted on the displays, showing Valhari ships clearly initiating hostile maneuvers, Jurok found himself increasingly isolated. Even his closest allies stepped back, unwilling to be associated with such a transparent violation of Council protocols. The Valhari actions demonstrate precisely why the current system has failed, Ilara declared. A Category 1 civilization believes it can attack a supposedly inferior power with impunity, even during peace negotiations. This arrogance stems directly from the hierarchy the Council has fostered. High Arbiter Dex Loren, sensing the Chamber's mood shifting dramatically against the Valhari, made a decisive ruling. The Valhari Dominion's actions violate Section 12 of the Charter. Their motion for emergency powers is denied, and a formal censure will be recorded. It was a significant moment, the first time in decades that a Category 1 power had faced formal Council censure. Jurok, outraged but outmaneuvered, made one final desperate gambit. Then we shall act without Council approval. The Valhari will not stand idle while humans threaten the established order. At his command, the Valhari flagship, positioned in neutral space near the Council station, launched a direct quantum missile strike against Earth itself. It was a weapon they had developed in secret, reverse-engineered from fragments of human technology, retrieved in previous encounters. The missile vanished into quantum space, theoretically unreachable and unstoppable, until it rematerialized at its target. A collective gasp echoed through the Council chamber as observers realized what had happened. Even those who distrusted humans were shocked by the blatant act of aggression against a homeworld, a violation of the most sacred Council prohibition. Admiral Kai remained surprisingly calm. "Ambassador, with your permission." Ilara nodded grimly. Kai activated his communicator. "Implement Quantum Shield Alpha." On the main display, a new image appeared, Earth, serene and blue, surrounded by a shimmering field of quantum energy. The Valhari missile rematerialized in orbit, but instead of detonating, it simply dissolved into component particles, its structure unraveled by forces it encountered. Earth developed defensive applications of quantum technology before weaponizing it, Kai explained to the stunned Council. "We anticipated this possibility." The silence in the chamber was profound. Not only had humans revealed propulsion technology that revolutionized space travel, but they had also developed impenetrable defenses against quantum attacks, attacks that most of the Council hadn't even known were possible. Jurok, his position now completely untenable, was immediately surrounded by Council security forces. The attempted strike against a homeworld was an unforgivable offense that would result in his species' diplomatic isolation and his own imprisonment. As he was escorted from the chamber, Ilara addressed the remaining representatives. "Earth did not come here seeking conflict. We came seeking recognition and equality. The actions you've witnessed today show why we felt compelled to develop in secret, and why the current system must change." Tella Sorn, her luminescence now a steady, determined blue, moved to the central platform. "I propose an immediate recess, followed by emergency restructuring talks. The old hierarchy has failed. We must build something new, with humans as equal partners in the process." The motion passed with unprecedented support. As the session temporarily adjourned, Dr. Lila turned to her colleagues. "Phase 2 complete," she said quietly. "They fear us, but they're beginning to respect us. Now comes the hard part, building something better than what we've torn down." The new order. 2 weeks after the Valhari incident, the Grand Chamber had been transformed. Gone was the tiered seating that had physically represented the hierarchy of civilizations. In its place stood a circular arrangement of identical platforms, a symbolic gesture toward the new order being negotiated. Ambassador Ilara Chen sat at a round table with the newly formed Transition Council, 12 representatives chosen not by traditional category rankings, but by democratic election among all member species. Tella Sorn of the Meridian Accord had been selected as interim coordinator, her ancient species' reputation for wisdom and fairness, making her the natural choice to guide these unprecedented reforms. "We've made remarkable progress," Tela noted, her luminescence rippling with cautious optimism. 70% of member worlds have ratified the preliminary framework for cooperative advancement. The framework, largely drafted by Earth, with input from progressive council factions, proposed replacing the rigid hierarchy with a more fluid system based on specific capabilities rather than overall technological levels. Under this approach, a civilization might be advanced in some areas while still developing in others, with appropriate sharing and safeguards tailored to each domain. "The holdouts remain significant," observed Nexturian of the Solari. "The former Category 1 powers stand to lose the most influence. They've enjoyed privileged access to resources and technologies for millennia." Ilara replied. "Equality feels like oppression to those accustomed to advantage." Outside the chamber, the galactic sphere buzzed with activity. News of human quantum technology had sparked a renaissance of scientific inquiry across countless worlds. Species that had obediently followed prescribed technological paths for generations were now questioning, exploring, and innovating at unprecedented rates. The mere knowledge that alternatives existed had broken a psychological barrier. Dr. Layla Zakaria had established a quantum physics exchange program, with scientists from 27 worlds now collaborating at Earth's Quantum Institute. The carefully controlled sharing of knowledge, revealing principles without compromising security, had proven more effective than anyone expected. Within days, novel applications had emerged from the cross-species collaboration that neither humans nor their partners had envisioned alone. The Alturian delegates are requesting access to Earth's lunar facilities, an aide informed Ilara. Their crystalline computing architecture shows remarkable synergy with quantum displacement theory. Ilara made a note to approve the request. The Alturians, formerly a Category 2 civilization, with particular expertise in information processing, had become some of Earth's most enthusiastic partners. Their willingness to share their own advances had earned them privileged access to human facilities. This pattern of reciprocal exchange formed the core of Earth's diplomatic strategy. Unlike the old Council, which hoarded advanced technology at the top tiers, humans freely shared with those who shared in return. Merit and mutual benefit had replaced arbitrary classification as the basis for collaboration. Not everyone embraced this new paradigm. A coalition of conservative powers, informally known as the Preservation Alliance, had emerged in opposition to the reforms. Led by the Glaxoid technocracy and the remnants of the Valheri influence sphere, they warned of catastrophic consequences if unproven civilizations gained access to advanced capabilities. On the 58th level of the Council station, Admiral Kai Sorensen met with the station's security director, a towering crystalline entity named Gen Exa, whose species communicated through light pulses. "Our intelligence indicates the Preservation Alliance is planning something significant," Kai explained, displaying intercepted communications. "They've been consolidating military assets at these coordinates." Gen X's structure flashed with concern. A direct assault would be suicidal. Earth's quantum defenses are now widely known. "Not an assault," Kai corrected. "A demonstration. They believe if they can prove quantum technology is fundamentally dangerous, they can persuade moderate factions to reinstate restrictions." The security director processed this. "What form might this demonstration take?" "Our analysts believe they've developed a counter-quantum weapon, something that creates localized instabilities in space-time. Theoretically, such a device could disrupt our quantum fields, perhaps even prevent displacement within its range. If successful, it would restore conventional military advantage to traditional powers." Gen Exa noted, crystals pulsing with rapid calculations. Kai nodded grimly. "Precisely. And they wouldn't need to defeat us completely, just create enough problems to convince the Council that quantum technology is too unstable for widespread adoption." Back in the Grand Chamber, the diplomatic discussions continued, unaware of the military maneuvering happening beyond their view. Ilara was presenting Earth's proposal for technological classification reform when her secure communicator vibrated subtly against her wrist. A quick glance confirmed her suspicions. Admiral Kai's warning that the Preservation Alliance was mobilizing. She continued her presentation without missing a beat, years of diplomatic training allowing her to compartmentalize the emerging crisis. The key principle is that technological advancement isn't linear. Different civilizations develop along different paths based on their unique conditions and needs. A single hierarchical classification fails to capture this diversity of innovation. As representatives debated the proposal, Director Marcus Wong, now serving as Earth's colonial administrator, quietly entered the chamber and took a seat behind Ilara. He slipped her a data crystal containing the latest intelligence. The Preservation Alliance had deployed 30 warships to the Ganymede Research Facility in Jupiter's orbit, Earth's primary quantum physics laboratory. Their apparent plan was to activate their counter-quantum device, demonstrate Earth's vulnerability, and force a return to conventional power dynamics. What they didn't know was that humans had anticipated this approach. Dr. Layla Zakaria's team had detected early experiments with counter-quantum technology months ago and had been developing countermeasures ever since. The question wasn't whether Earth could neutralize the threat, but how they should respond to maximize diplomatic advantage. Ilara made her decision. Rather than alerting the Council to the impending attack, she would let it unfold, while ensuring Earth's response demonstrated the principles they had been advocating. As the diplomatic session concluded for the day, she approached Telesorn privately. Coordinator, I believe the Preservation Alliance will make a move against Earth facilities within the next 6 hours. We are prepared to handle it, but I wanted you to be aware. Tela's luminescence pulsed with concern. You should alert the full Council. We can condemn their actions before they begin, and perpetuate the cycle of political maneuvering that has defined the old order. Ilara shook her head. No, let them show their true intentions. Earth's response will demonstrate the principles we've been advocating. At the Ganymede Research Facility, Dr. Layla Zakaria received the alert from Earth Defense Command. Rather than evacuating the station as protocol suggested, she gathered her multi-species research team. The Preservation Alliance will target this facility within hours, she informed them. They've developed a counter-quantum weapon they believe will disable our technology and prove it's too dangerous for widespread use. Murmurs of concern spread among the assembled scientists, not just humans but representatives from 17 partner species. We have 3 options, Layla continued. Evacuate and surrender the facility, activate our defenses and destroy their fleet, or implement the harmonic recalibration protocol. The Alturian physicist Zenta clicked his crystalline appendages in what humans had learned was approval. The third option aligns with the principles of the new framework. Layla nodded. Precisely. Let's prepare the quantum harmonic arrays. The Alliance fleet arrived with predictable arrogance. 28 capital ships surrounded the Ganymede facility, led by a Glaxoid command vessel. They transmitted their demands without preamble. Surrender all quantum technology and research materials, submit to technological quarantine, or face destruction. Dr. Layla opened a channel to the Glaxoid commander. Your counter-quantum device won't work, Commander. We detected your test deployments months ago and have adapted our systems. The gelatinous commander pulsated with dismiss. Impossible. Our research is beyond your comprehension. We've had 17 different species analyzing your approach, Layla replied calmly. Your fundamental error was assuming quantum fields operate on exclusive frequencies. Our systems use harmonic resonance across multiple dimensional states simultaneously. Without waiting for a response, she activated the facility's unique defense system. Rather than a conventional shield or weapon, the quantum harmonic arrays projected a field that gently synchronized with the Alliance vessel's counter-quantum device, and then inverted its effect. On the Alliance flagship, confusion erupted as systems suddenly lost power. Their counter-quantum weapon, designed to disrupt Earth technology, had instead destabilized their own conventional systems. Within moments, the entire fleet drifted help.